5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So the first thing that I like to do is to just stealth by all these guys. So then I hover over the potion that's next to the dead guy in this house, because that'll indicate what the poison is going to be for this run. And then I just click that color potion on my weak aura. Luckily in this run this guy was here, so I'm just going to kill him real fast. And killing him will give us a damage buff for the rest of the run, and that's just really great to get, especially if you can get it early, because as with most things, the faster that you kill stuff, the less time it has to become especially dangerous.
Champions, we've been needing your help.
Now, I like to go this way first, and while these areas are a little less dangerous than the right side, I just hate if I do the right side correctly and then do like a stupid mistake in these areas, so I just like to get the easy areas out of the way for that reason. On this enemy, I just like to let the Surging Fist hit me, because it doesn't do any damage or sanity damage or anything, and it'll like carry you with him. And then after that, you just have to sidestep the Dominator cast, which he kind of shoots out like a boomerang that'll do like sanity damage to you. And you need to make sure to sidestep it, but then also you have to be really careful not to get hit by it on the way back. So in this area, I like to run by the NPC who's fighting that first enemy and just kill this pack first. And then sometimes I'll even do some more packs before letting her like stop fighting that enemy she's fighting by killing it. Just because I find that she'll sometimes like pull random shit, and that really messes stuff up. Like, I know what I want to pull in this area and I know what I don't want to pull in this area, and I really don't need her just running around making decisions for me. But I wanted to get her before I did these next packs because I really wanted to be able to stealth and stun these appendages. I really like to focus the appendages in these packs just because if you don't kill them fast, it's kind of happening to me here. You see this one keeps going underground and it's just taking me like forever to finish this pack because I have to like wait for the appendage to go underground and be unhittable, and then it comes back out and like then I can hit it. So I just like to kill him really fast. And also, while they seem kind of harmless, if they do hit you with that swirly, it'll like knock you up really high and do a ton of damage. So they're like actually really dangerous if you do accidentally get hit. While I heal myself up, I am just like looking around to see if I can see any green potions. Now for this guy, it doesn't happen on this run, but I have noticed on some runs that if you're standing exactly in the center of his hitbox when he goes to do his leap, he won't actually always throw you. He does kind of inch backward, so I wouldn't like count on that happening. But it's still good to try, because if you happen to take less sanity damage because you were able to be right inside his hitbox at the right moment, then I don't know, that's great, right? Just like an extra bonus. But I would say never fight that guy with a less than like over 300 sanity, unless you have like cooldowns and know you can burst him down. And I always save cooldowns for him as well, just because the fact that his sanity damage is like basically guaranteed is kind of sketchy. Fatality. Now for these next packs, I just decided to go bear. I'm able to kill these packs pretty easily on feral, but it's just slightly more dangerous because sometimes the NPC I'm with will choose to pull the pack that's like over to my left right now, and if that happens, it's really dangerous, and I would definitely advise not pulling that pack at all, But I just feel safer being bear because I know that if the NPC decided to have a mind of her own, I still would be able to survive it if I was bear. And then I'm just staying bear for this next pack because I don't really want to waste time switching again until I get to the actual mini boss. Now I'm just like looking around for potions because if I could find like a potion or two, then I wouldn't necessarily use an orb for this guy. But sanity isn't even that tight right now, like in these visions, because of the Nemesis mask spawns. So you don't really need to like push your luck with the sanity. Like I usually use an orb in this area just for safety, even on like that previous mob, and I didn't need to use it there, so I'm just going to use it here to ensure that I get through. There's not really a reason to save your orbs, so. For this NPC, this mini boss, the trick is that you need to start moving out of the casts he's doing before the swirlies actually come out. Like you want to start running while it's casting because they actually hit so fast that if you rely on your reaction time to react to the swirly, it's really likely that you just won't make it out and you'll take a shit ton of damage, sanity damage from that guy. And that's coming from someone who's literally in cat form, so I'm generally faster than like your average character. For this guy, you want to make sure that you stay close to him and sidestep this frontal defile of ground that it does. And you just want to make sure that you're not standing outside of his hitbox. As you can see, he puts those balls out there. And those balls will stun you and basically like end your run if you happen to touch one. I did take sanity damage on this guy from apparently standing in a swirly. And I didn't think I was standing in a swirly, but apparently I was. So that just goes to show that this guy's swirlies can be really hard to see. So just like be aware of that. So when I was coming to this area, I was gonna switch to Guardian, but then I kind of realized that Gammon was about to spawn, and I didn't really want to be sitting in bear fighting Gammon. So I just decided to stay in cat so that I could just kill these enemies and move on to killing Gammon and getting my sanity back faster. When you see these orange bugs around your screen, that means that you have to jump. And if you don't jump, then if you build up like enough bugs, I think it might be like 5 bugs or something, then your character will just start like uncontrollably running forward and you won't be able to stop, and that can be pretty annoying and detrimental. So just make sure that you're jumping, at least when you see the big bug like show up in the middle of your screen like we just saw there.
Fatality!
So sometimes a mini boss can spawn on the other side of this ring of wood planks, so I'm just seeing if she's there, and she doesn't appear to be. If she was, I would stay in feral so I could kill her faster. But because she's not, I decide just to switch to Guardian here so that I can just do larger trash pulls. I really wanted to try to do this zone quickly because I definitely don't want to use an orb here. And the reason I like to not use an orb here is because all the trash in this area can feel dangerous, like in this area with these casters. The boss isn't particularly dangerous, and you can definitely guarantee that you don't take any sanity damage on it. So I really like to make sure that I have them for later areas, like the Rexar area and so on and so forth, just in case I happen to like make a mistake. So with these packs, you really want to make sure that you're focusing the shamans and the tormentors. And that's because the shamans will spawn like a super annoying totem that we'll see later in the run. And the tormentors can do some really dangerous casts. The most dangerous cast that you want to look out for is called Touch of the Abyss. And you just want to always make sure that you stop that. If you're playing a DPS, like when I'm in feral mode doing these packs, I always need to CC them when they all start casting that mental assault on me as well, because that does like a lot of damage. But in Guardian, I'll usually just let that go through and let them waste their time casting it and just like, you know, sustain through it as Guardian and save my stops for if they were to cast, like have time to cast a more dangerous spell afterward. This pack, while being pretty easy as tank, can be surprisingly dangerous as a squishier spec. So just be aware of that. So for this next boss, I'm going to switch back to Feral, and what you want to do for this boss is just throw your cooldowns immediately and try to just burst him as fast as you can. And then when he casts this hopelessness cast, he's gonna silence you, and what you have to do is run and get this orb, which is like your soul, in order to be able to become unsilenced. But it's incredibly dangerous if you get hit by one of those waves. It'll totally basically like end your run. So the most important thing on that guy is just to not get hit by waves and not like rush. And you want to be super cautious if you have scorched feet at the time, because you really don't want to get like flung into a wave. And the orb, the hopelessness will eventually wear off like on its own, even if you don't end up picking up your orb. So while you want to get the orb and get back to DPSing faster, you should definitely prioritize not getting hit by a wave on that guy. Here's the annoying totem I was talking about. It just permanently yoinks you back. And when you're playing on a bunch of masks like I am, you're leaving this snail trail behind you that does 30 sanity damage whenever it ticks on you. So it yoinking you back constantly will just keep doing like little trickles of 30 sanity. So you really want to kill the shamans fast so that you don't end up in that situation. And also, if you do end up in that situation, you probably want to just kill the totem fast instead of like doing whatever the fuck I was doing right there. I was like trying to bleed the totem and cleave it down like that, and like totems don't even bleed, so I don't know what I was thinking. For this boss, what you want to do is to pre-move his Orb of Annihilation cast. You need to make sure that you start moving immediately when he starts casting it, instead of waiting for the swirly to come out, similarly to the red squiggly guy in the first area we did. And then for the other cast he does, it's just a frontal that pushes you back. And back in BFA, it would follow you, but it doesn't appear to do that anymore, so you can literally just sidestep it, and it's super easy and doesn't really do anything. Just focus on pre-moving the Orb of Annihilation. So for this area, I decided just to switch back to Bear and do these trash packs quickly. And I can do them on Feral as well, but they require a little bit more like hiding and potentially using CDs that I'd rather save for the upcoming boss. So you can see that the Dominator is channeling Touch of the Abyss on me. That's really bad. The Dominators have to be your top priority whenever there's one in the pack, and you need to make sure that they don't cast Touch of the Abyss on you, because it'll stun you for so long, and it's very likely that you'll die. The only reason that I didn't die to that was because I was in Bear. And to be honest, if I wasn't doing that pack as Bear, I wouldn't have pulled so much together anyway, and I would have just like nuked down the Dominator before I moved on at all. This guy's great. If you get a spawn of this guy, it'll give you a crit buff. So definitely worth getting if you see him. I'm just looking around for potions as I go. I noticed that there's one right there by this doorway, but I decided to save it just because I'm about to spawn Gammon, and I actually have a lot of sanity right now anyway. This pack is pretty dangerous, and you want to just make sure that you're targeting the casters and bursting them down and using like an AoE CC to interrupt them when they all start casting together. If I was doing that pack as Feral, I usually would save Berserk for it and just like make sure I can nuke it really fast. But if I do it as Guardian, then that means that I can use both of my Feral CDs on the next boss.
Fatality!
And this next boss that's coming up actually has a really fun trick to it, and there's a different trick depending on if you're playing a melee or a ranged character. So he does a cast called Void Torrent, which we'll see, and if you're a caster, you want to hide behind that stump that you see right there, and if you're a melee, I'll show you what to do. So before I fight this guy, I always like to wait for Scorched Feet first, so that I don't get knocked during the fight. So now I'm just going to pop Berserk and start killing him, and as soon as he starts to cast Void Torrent, as you see, I'm gonna scooch into his hitbox and it makes it totally miss you. And then I'm just saving Convoke the Spirits for his shield. And while that time I would have killed him if I had just used Convoke, I like to save it for the shield just in case, because it's just like not worth the risk for me. Now I'm just going back for a sanity potion that I had noticed earlier. And similarly to how I was able to avoid that cast by being in his hitbox, if you're a ranged person hiding behind that stump, it'll miss you there as well. In this next area, you just gotta kill Misha first. And the only real mechanic that you have to be careful of is not getting hit by this swirly, because that'll do sanity damage. But also once Misha dies, she'll spawn a bunch of like little bugs. And you just want to kill those. They will, when they get low, do a swirly, which is really dangerous if you get hit. And your options for that is either to just run out of range and then they'll like explode, or you can just like kill them before the cast goes off. So now I'm switching to Bear, and I'm going to do a skip that I discovered. So if you don't have stealth, you may have to kill one of these packs, but these ones aren't too bad. So if you come all the way over here to the right, like by the edge of the out of bounds area, you can actually skip literally everything here. And as you can see, I'm not even using stealth here. These mobs actually have an eyeball, and you can just slide right by there and they just don't even notice you. I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna do this pack, and this pack absolutely sucks. It stuns you and it's terrible, and I totally recommend either using a cooldown and nuking those little guys, or if you have one, using like a tank spec to just ensure that you survive that pack. So now I'm switching back to Feral, and I get rudely interrupted by this figment here, so we're just gonna kill that guy. I have a lot of time, and I actually have a lot of sanity left, but I'm definitely gonna use an orb before Rexxar anyway. This guy is arguably the most dangerous enemy in this whole thing, so I would recommend using an orb and using Bloodlust and using just everything you have to nuke him as fast as you can. I'm gonna let my sanity come up here, and then I'm gonna try to pull him into the orb. So now I'm just popping everything and nuking him down with Bloodlust. I'm using Barkskin here because the boars are about to start coming out and they'll do damage to me. I'm going to use my AoE CC to stop their first cast of Void Quills and then just finish off Rexxar. If you're not able to kill Rexxar that fast, I would recommend actually holding my cooldowns until the boars come out and then nuking them instead. Because the boars cast will do constant sanity damage to you, but once the boars aren't in the fight, if you dodge everything else in the fight, you won't actually take any other sanity damage. So if you're able to nuke Rexxar, then totally do that, but if you're not, nuke the boars and then just kill him on your own time after. For this area, I decided to switch back to Guardian, mostly just because of anxiety. I was about to go kill the guards, and I just didn't want to risk that I messed up and accidentally pulled a bunch of stuff and like through nervousness. So I just went Guardian just in case. Because I have plenty of time, I'm not really racing against the clock in a significant way right here, so I just felt like safe was better than sorry. Also, because I am planning on using an orb before this guy, I'm just kind of thinking, like, is there anything else that I want to do in this area with the sanity I have left before I orb? And I accidentally pull these guys, so I'm killing him. I considered drinking a bunch of the other colors of potions to get buffs before I fought Thrall. I could also pick up some chests. There are many good options. You can take a break. The funny thing though is I was actually kind of making this decision based on how the orbs functioned in BFA. Because in BFA you couldn't use the orbs if you were in combat. So, you know, it's kind of dangerous. If you like spawned a figment or accidentally aggroed something, you could totally be screwed. But now you're able to use them in combat even though you don't get as much sanity back. So maybe if I was smarter and more familiar with this modern take on visions, I would have just fought Thrall and used my orb like halfway through if I needed it or something. But I didn't think of that. So what I'm gonna do here, critically, is focus on not getting frontaled. And it would be great to stop the casts on the boars, and obviously you want to cleave them down, but the most important thing is not to get frontaled by him. It'll stun you, and it'll own you, and it's basically the core of this whole fight. So with this shield, if you don't break it in time, you'll take 90 sanity damage, but we have plenty of sanity. That's why I used an orb beforehand. So I'm just gonna keep killing him, watching for the frontal, and moving out of his abilities. So there's the frontal. He'll do it right after the Surging Darkness sometimes. Gonna move out. And that spell, it doesn't always go center and then outside. It can be either one first. So just try to pay attention. And just always be ready for him to do that Defiled Ground frontal. Defiled Ground. And then right here, it's so funny. I thought I could kill him before that Surging Darkness hit me. But then I panicked and ran out of it at the last second, which I'm glad I did, because it would have been so stupid to lose there. Just because of, like, greed. And there you go. That's 8 masks. And I didn't actually do the 5, 6, 7 mask achievements. I just, like, went straight to 8, so I got all those achievements at once, which felt pretty good. And I'm looking forward to doing it on Stormwind. I hope this was helpful, and good luck out there in your horrific visions.